Okay, good evening everyone, or good day, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are in the world. I hope it's going well. Today we have a special announcement, I guess we can say, or just a, we're gonna explain what's happening. The 50,000 block is probably about 24 hours away. So in other words, this is the last call for statics. If you want a static, well, you better get on it because it does take a bit of time, and if you're doing more than one, don't wait till the last minute, okay? Time is running out. We're doing about 75 blocks an hour right now, approximately. So let's just say that there's maybe 24 to 36 hours left, and don't go by 36 because it can go quickly. Anyway, so if it's possible, set one up, at least one. This is it's going to have a special role in this company down the road, in the future, and now. And so if you can get one, go ahead and get one. Basically, a couple things that they do is, first of all, you're going to have key votes, and we are going to continue to have votes. Okay, so they will be key votes, and they'll also be involved in key decisions. All right, so we're going to get a little more into that after. But I want to touch on just a few things here before we get into the real meat of what this is all about today. So first of all, I want to touch on Troll Patrol. I see a few people give me a hard time about Troll Patrol. Well, you know what? Troll Patrol is not going to go away. XtraBYtes is going to revolutionize the crypto world because of the technology behind it. And what I see in this industry, and this is why I'm all for this, okay? What I see is there's a lot of scammers out there, and not just in crypto. It's absolutely rampant across the internet with home businesses. It's crazy what's happening. And when I see that we have this most incredible opportunity in my entire lifetime, probably in everybody's lifetime, we may never see another opportunity as great as crypto for the average person in the rest of history. This is what we have to understand. And for it to be ruined by some selfish people is, to me, an atrocity. And so if I can do something about it and it catches on with a hashtag that I didn't actually develop, but I'm certainly pushing it, if we can make a change and make a difference with the hashtag Troll Patrol, you know what? I'm all for it. Because I would much rather see the uninformed become informed when they're in troll boxes, instead of having their coins cheated away from them by more experienced people who are doing this kind of thing. It's wrong. Okay? And here's what it does to this industry, and this is why I'm all for Troll Patrol. What it does to this industry is it takes that new person, and when that person loses money, and he goes and he talks, or she goes and talks to their circle of friends, that has just affected a circle of friends. That could be hundreds, eventually thousands of people. This is what you guys have to understand that are doing this crap. Pardon my language. Okay? This industry is life-changing. And for people to go and ruin it for someone else because their first experience was that some yo-yo ripped them off by tricking them because they lied about something that's happening with a particular coin, whether that be XtraBYtes or any other coin, is completely irrelevant. Okay? It's just wrong. There is so much opportunity here for people that we don't need to trick the new people coming into this industry, or anybody else for that matter. Okay? Find a good coin and make some smart decisions with buying and selling, and stop tricking people. It's pretty simple. Okay? This is the deal. It's Troll Patrol, and it's not really acceptable by anybody, except for the trolls, of course. And if you're going to fight against me about it, go right ahead. I don't care. Because, this is just the way it is. Call me for the little guy or whatever you want to say. But, we're going to continue with that. And anybody who wants to support me on that will support me. And I know there's plenty. And so we will carry on. Okay, moving on. The community board. Basically, we've got about 10 people in there right now. And we certainly would like to have more. More ideas, more brain power, translates into better, more thorough conversations and discussions and decisions being made for the betterment of XtraBYtes. Okay? What you need to have in order to be part of the board is at least 1 million XtraBYtes. Okay, we want people to have a vested interest in the success of the company, and we figure 1 million is a pretty good level to get to. Okay, also people have to have a good attitude. All right, we all have to be able to get along and be able to negotiate and all that kind of stuff. It's very important, and this comes down to being diplomatic as well, because basically we have to make the right decisions, and we have to make decisions as a small group of people who are going to do our best to represent all of the people in the entire company of XtraBYtes, okay, the community corporation. Very important. So if anybody's interested in that, then just let me know, okay, and we will, consider, and we always watch who's saying things and what they're saying inside the chats and all that stuff, and it all plays a role, because we can see who's got their mind in the right place for the future and is solid. Okay, we want solid people. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to come and go. All right, and we may end up losing some people tonight with the whole thing that's happening here. Okay, that's completely up to everybody. But I know one thing for sure: anybody who understands what we're doing and sees the future, they're not going anywhere. Okay, and that's fine, because what we need at this point in the development stage that we're at with this company is we need people to understand that this is not a pump and dump game. If you're here for the quick bucks, you're probably not going to be happy. As I said, we are revolutionizing this industry of crypto with the technology that's being brought out by Borzollum. All right? So there's going to be some ups and downs, and it's all experimental, and things change, and that's why we haven't been able to come out with a full explanation of what can happen, in fact, what will happen at the 50,000 block, because it had to be seen properly in order to be able to explain it, and we're going to do that tonight. Okay? So let us know if you want to be on the community board. Also, helpers. Yeah, we need helpers, people who can do the wallets. We've got various wallets that need to be, what the heck do you call it again? I'm losing my thoughts here. Anyway, the wallets have to be blah, blah, blah. I forget. You guys know what I mean. We need someone to do them for Mac, for Linux, for Windows, for Raspberry Pi, and whatever other wallets may come along. Okay. Also, if someone would be willing to help out with votes and contests, that would be great. Because I got a lot of things to do. Most of it is staying in line with Borzollum, so that we can make sure we get the right messages across to you guys. And when I'm tied up in doing all other things, all that stuff gets put behind. Okay? So all the help we can get for all these different things that we need to do as a corporation would be very much appreciated. Also, if anybody out there is listening who is a programmer and wants to get involved, let us know. There's all kinds of work to do. Okay? And of course the designs. Now, I haven't even been into the Slack for the last couple of days. I've had so many things to do, including getting my own static set up and helping some other people, because we're running out of time. And I'm looking at the clock, well, not the clock, but the block count, and I'm saying, uh-oh, this is really starting to get down to the crunch. And so I've been doing a lot of setups for statics for the last couple of days. And I don't know where we're at with the designs. Last I saw, we had some really good stuff coming together, and I know there's lots of people, very talented and very good decision-making people, that are taking a look at that and watching what's going on, so I have full faith in all of them. And speaking of all this stuff, what everybody has to understand is that there was no pre-mine with this company. Okay, there's no coins being created by the dev, myself and Borzollum. There's nothing there. We bought our coins like everybody else did, and so it's difficult for us to. And I do it often. I put stuff up to give people gifts and things like that. But if anybody wants to contribute to helping the company grow, so that we can pay for the people that are doing all this work, that'd be great. Maybe you don't know how to design websites or make images or any of that stuff that's being done, or to do the wallets or all that stuff. But if you want to be a contributor, whatever you can contribute, you can send it right into the community address, and all that stuff is going to be decided upon by the community of where it's going to go. And somewhere we're in around 250,000 coins. Maybe we're close to 300,000 now. I don't know. It's not a whole lot, but it's something to start with. And basically, At this point, not all the fees are going in there because there's miners that are mining on the chain right now, which we can't help. That had to be done because the proof of work mining algorithms had to stay there for the time being. And so when the miners found out about that, they started mining, and so they're getting some of the fees that are coming through. But anyway, anybody who wants to contribute, just let us know. And I believe that the fees address is posted on the forum in a few places, but we can let you know where that is. So any help would be appreciated to help us move this project forward and to make sure that the people who are doing this extra work for nothing right now, other than myself, you know what? I don't need any money. Okay, I don't need any coins. I'm good. All right. I love doing this stuff. I have a lot of fun with it. And even though I may seem like I get frustrated sometimes, I probably do, but I still love it. So don't get me wrong. Anyway, moving along to the 50,000 block. Let me first of all take a look here. Let's take a look at what we got here. Okay, so we're at 47,000. Hold on, let me refresh that. 47,600 blocks. Okay, so if you don't know what this is the registered static nodes. This is valid, this is updated, and this is canceled. Pretty simple to understand that. So just by chance, these three colors ended up on the top here. Updated means that somebody has made a change, and so even though it shows the coins here, this is not actually counted as a valid static. Okay, there is a duplicate of this account somewhere down the page that's actually the valid one. It's just that everything that's been registered, it stays in here, and so if it gets changed, it becomes updated, and the real one is down the page somewhere in green. Okay, a lot of them got canceled, and the reason why they were canceled, most of them anyway, was because we were doing some testing about a week or so ago to find out if we could break the statics. Okay, so that's why that happened. But anyway, you can scroll down here, you can take a look at them all. They've all got little individual names of people's ideas, whatever they're coming up with. And if you scroll right to the very bottom now, just about 15 minutes ago, Borzalim added statistics. So we have 183 valid statics right now. 11 were canceled, and 10 were updated. Okay, so basically the total is 183. That's what we have right now. Not bad. That's going to create a nice, solid, stable start for us. I know there's going to be a lot more before we're finished. We've got, like I said, about 24 hours, but this is a really, really good start. We're real happy with this. The other stuff up here we don't need to really check into. I just touch on this for a second. This is fantastic. Look at this growth. This is absolutely wonderful. I want to congratulate everybody for recognizing what we have here and for putting your faith in us based on the story. And I know the story is, this is what it's all about. If not for the story itself being so, I don't even know what the word is. It's just too good, too unbelievable to be false. Like Fred, I forget. Sorry, Fred, I forget your last name. But Fred is in the forum, and he's now in our Slack as well. And he made the best comment so far of anybody. Now, many of you have made comments, but his comment was along the lines of, I read all this stuff in this forum, and there's no way that these guys would have gone the lengths that they have in order to extend a scam that they started. So these guys have to be legit. And this is the truth. And it's all there. And, as I said, it does get me a little frustrated sometimes because we have these people doing FUD or whatever they're doing, or, I don't know what their motives are, quite honestly. Clearly they haven't read. And anyway, anybody who goes and takes the time to read, and even if they just go and read through my comments, just by clicking on my name in the forum and reading through my comments, and going back to the very beginning if you want to see how it all started, it's plain as day that this is the real deal. Okay, we're not here to trick anybody. We're just going through this thing, and it's an amazing journey. I love it, and I'm so happy to when looking at this chart here, knowing that there was people way back here that thought they had lost their money. Like, look, we go back here a little ways, and here we're still at 1 Satoshi, and it's just amazing what's happened. So many, there's already people's lives have been changed with what we're doing here financially. Like, it's just wild. This is 25. What are we at here? 246. Today we hit 254, 255, something like that. That's 25,000% growth. Are you kidding me? That's awesome. So we're on the right track here, and this is just the beginning. This is what everybody has to understand. I see so many people in these troll boxes that, you know, they talk and they look at this as though it's any other coin. Folks, it's not. Okay? You have to understand that. If Borzalim is doing us a huge favor by releasing his abilities, his technology that he's been thinking about and creating for the last several years, he didn't have to release it here. Okay? He could have done something else with this coin. But instead, he decided he's going to release his technology here. Okay? This guy's an amazing man. He did not have to do that. You got to realize that, guys. He could have said, no, I want to be selfish. I want to make, well, I shouldn't say selfish. It doesn't have to be selfish. I want to make sure that I have a pre-mine so that I have control of a lot of the coins. This is what happens normally. He didn't do that. Okay? Here we are. And I can tell you, he's got a lot less coins than all you guys know. He's got a lot less coins than I thought he had. But he's still plugging away because he believes in what he's doing and he wants to help people. And he is. Okay? So, what else do I have to talk about here? You know what? Pretty much nothing other than the 50,000 block. So, the changeover to static nodes. I'm going to explain this. I'm going to breeze through this real quickly. This is going to be posted so that everybody can read. Okay? I know I talk a little fast sometimes, and maybe there's people that aren't native English, so they're obviously not going to understand everything I say. And so this is going to be posted on the forum for everybody to read at their own leisure. Okay? So I'm going to go over it now for you, though. So this is the basic infographic of the bitmox hash. Okay? So this is where it all started. Just a normal hash like any other coin. All right? Nothing special about it. And basically, what happened is between the 25,000 to 50,000 block, there was a change made. And that was this here. Okay? Static node registrations, the data, the public key, and the spendable addresses, that was all added to the blockchain each time somebody registered between the 25,000 and the 50,000 block. Okay? So, we're all waiting for the 50,000 block. And now here's where there's a little bit of confusion, a little bit of misunderstanding. If you think about every time I've ever mentioned this, I always say after the 50,000 block, because it's coming after the 50,000 block. A lot of people have been interpreting that there's a switch to be flipped. It would be nice if there was a switch to be flipped, but it's not quite that easy. And so you're going to understand when I explain this of the challenge that Borzalim has been grappling with to figure out how to do this, because well, he probably could turn down or shut off the blockchain, but that's not a good idea. So he's not going to shut off the blockchain. Everything here is being done live. But recently he figured out the best way to do it, and so now we're able to reveal what's going to happen. Okay? So the next step is something much more complex than just adding the registration data to the running blockchain. All right? So let's get into it. So as it stands, the blockchain is working, obviously. It's secure like all the other coins, and the exchanges will accept it as it is, but this is not really the XtraBYtes chain. Okay? What's going to happen is during the changeover, there's going to be two change. All right? The founder's chain, which is the current chain, and then we're going to be rolling out the static chain, which is the future chain. And it's not a fork. Don't get this wrong. Okay, you're going to understand that as we go here. So the best way to understand this is that it's actually a rebuild. It's not a fork. It's being rebuilt. One of the major obstacles that he's had to plan around is the fact that it's impossible to make big changes, and we all saw this last week. You can't make big changes to the blockchain when it's on the run. Okay, all the changes have to be accepted by all the clients. And as I said last week when we made that wallet update and the exchanges were down for almost a day, that's why. Because it was a big change, and with all the coding that's on this original chain, it was difficult for the old clients to recognize what had happened. And so the wallet stopped working properly, all this stuff was going on, and that's not good. Okay? So that change had to be done, though, because as I just explained when we were looking at the other at the static list with those canceled ones, some people realized, they were like, okay, well, we can't cancel this. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to be able to cancel it. Well, you were supposed to be able to cancel it. So when I got a hold of Borzalim, and he went and looked at it, he tested it himself, and sure enough, there was something wrong. So he went in there, and about 5 or 6 hours later, he came out with a solution, and it worked. But everything had to be updated because it was a major change. Because obviously we have to be able to break the static. If somebody wants out, they have to be able to get out. And so it was fixed. And so now anybody, all they need to do is go in, they can go back in, they can bring their wallet, their static wallet, or not their static wallet, their deposit wallet back up online and send those coins out to the exchange or whatever they want, and it works. Not a problem. Okay? So basically what happens in this situation is that if you make major changes on a live chain, it creates a highly insecure environment. It's not secure at all. And it was a stressful time when this was being made. Okay? And again, remember, it's all experimental, and this is why, you know, there's a lot of people that understand this perfectly, and they have no problems with what we're doing in order to move forward here. Because it is experimental. It's always been experimental. And so Borzalim can't see too far ahead. He has to make changes as he goes. Okay, and as I said, he's ingenious, and he may even be a genius, but he's definitely ingenious. And for sure, up until now, everything I've seen him do since I've known him for the last 3 months, he's unstoppable. Every time there's a problem, he fixes it. Okay, the man knows what he's doing. Lots of experience. So anyway, I just touched on this. When we updated the wallets, they all stopped working properly. The exchanges had to update their code. And anyway, so basically, as you can imagine, there's going to be major changes to switch over to static. And because we don't want to stop the blockchain, it's got to be done differently. And so this is how it's going to be done. Okay, first of all, oh yes, this is important to note. The original chain, it's a copycat chain. There's over 13 different algorithms on there for mining. They all have to be removed, okay, for the proper functioning. And this goes, of course, without mentioning that they're not even needed because of the static and the proof of signature system. The problem with all these other algorithms is that it causes the problem with recognizing old clients, okay? So when we take them out, they're removed. All the old block hashes, they're understandable by all the clients, so it's no longer a problem. So all that stuff is being taken out. All right? And then all the blocks, they're going to get rebuilt, and all the blocks need to be accepted by the new static and proof of signature algorithm. And that's how this is going to work. That's why we're talking about a rebuild. So to do this, he's going to make a special Genesis block. It's going to contain all the transactions that have occurred within the 25,000 to 50,000 block. In other words, every single registration of a static that's occurred for anybody out there now who has a static and up until the 50,000 block, those transactions are being put specially in this block. That's going to be the new Genesis block because the statics are going to control the chain from that point forward. Okay? So some of the blocks are done with proof of work, some of them are done with proof of signature, some have registration data, some don't. He has to go in and clear it all out. So then basically the Genesis block needs to know all the statics, okay? And so when we close at the 50,000 block, this is why it's so important. This is when he's going to do that hard burn, and he's going to basically change everything. In fact, it's not even a hard burn anymore. It's actually rebuilding the entire system. Okay? But keep listening because you're going to understand as we go here. So it's all going to get built and put into the special Genesis block. So you can read all this stuff on your own. It's just a little explanation to reiterate. Okay, so the two blockchains are only going to be running for a period of time. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's not a fork. It's a mirror running alongside. Okay, so the rebuild chain is going to more or less run alongside. So basically it's the same chain, but it's got a new block, a new Genesis block. Okay, the founder chain will continue to operate as normal, and while this is happening, this is when Borzalim's collecting all the data. He's going to load it all into the block, into the Genesis block, and then he starts up the static chain. Meanwhile, the main chain is still running, okay? So he starts up the static chain, and it will then extend out to the length of the founder's chain, and all the transactions that have occurred from 0, or in fact from the bitmox, if we want to call it that, the bitmox Genesis block, all those transactions from that point forward, and I don't mean going back to the beginning. I mean going back to when Borzalim took over and brought all the 650 million coins over. That's a new Genesis block there, okay? That's where it starts from. So it's going back to there, and from that point forward, taking all the transactions, because all those coins were brought ahead, and everybody knows, the whole system knew who owned those coins, because they were all inside of CCX. So there was no need. Nobody took any coins out up until that point. The wallet wasn't even working. Okay? So, carrying on. What's going to occur temporarily is the old founder's chain will continue to work like it is. Doesn't need to be updated. Doesn't need to be stopped. Nothing. Nothing has to happen to it. It's just going to continue on like it is now. Alright? And after all the static registration data has been stored on the Genesis block, at this point, all the static nodes have to sign the first block. Okay? And at that point, all the static nodes will start working. And what they do next is they start going through the second, third, fourth, fifth block, all the way up to the 50,000 block, plus, right to the end of the founder's chain. And what they're doing is all the transactions that have occurred on all those blocks are getting re-verified by the static nodes on the new chain, the static chain. Okay? So also during this transition period, there's going to be a hierarchy between the two chains. At first, the founder's chain will be primary, because it's going to continue doing its work, and the static chain is going to be copying all the transactions at that point. Okay? And this is a very good security feature. It's double confirmed, all those transactions. So some of the real technical people who understand this stuff are going to understand the value of that much more than I do, but I understand it's probably important. Okay? No transaction IDs are going to get changed. No addresses are going to get changed. The only thing that gets changed is the first block. It's going to be 100% rebuilt with all the static nodes in it. Right? So, from there, the entire chain is then completely ran by the static and proof of signature algorithm. Once the entire founder's chain has been duplicated and verified, Borzalim's going to write a special script to change the hierarchy, which will make the static chain the primary chain, and the founder's chain will become secondary at that point, and it will continue forward for a little while longer until it's 100% verified that everything's working properly, and then the founder's chain gets retired and shut down forever. So there's no fork. It's just going to run alongside to match everything up, because again, we cannot stop the chain. So how else can we do this? You see? So, in the meantime, while this is happening, we're going to use both chains. The founder's chain's primary, static chain secondary. Okay? I'm just reiterating here. It's going to get caught up. It's going to bring all the transactions over. Okay? But here's one of the interesting things. The static nodes are going to show their special powers in this moment, because they're actually going to be running two different chains, two different clients at the same time. One on the founder's chain, one on the static chain, verifying back and forth. But they're only on the static chain. Very interesting what he's doing. In other words, the two chains are going to communicate with each other through the static nodes until everything is verified to be 100% accurate and 100% working. Right? After that, we begin to move forward towards the next milestone, because at this point, your static nodes will be paying out. There's not a whole lot that is paying out at this point, and we're going to get into that. But let's just remember something here. This is really important, okay? We can't do deadlines. Borzalim works as fast as he can, and we don't want him jeopardizing XtraBYtes and jeopardizing our investments, okay? this whole 50,000 block thing actually came too fast. We didn't expect that the miners would start when we became a little more popular. We didn't anticipate that. And so therefore we actually thought when we first got to the 25,000 block, I think we thought we had 14 days or something like that, but it's gone a lot quicker. Some of these blocks, I saw a block today that was 4 seconds long. So we lost a lot of time. And anyway, we want to just move forward and get things set up, get it moving forward, and moving on to the fudsters, which I already touched on a little bit. We've always maintained that the static nodes will be turned on after the 50,000 block, and this hasn't changed. Now we've been able to clarify things, okay? And again, as we mentioned earlier, this is experimental. We've always maintained that. It's not possible to plan so far ahead. And so, as you can see, things have had to be adjusted to make them work. And this is going to continue because he can't. Well, any programmer knows that he's doing something. This is not a copycat chain anymore. He's developing this as he goes. He knows where he wants to go, and he just has to program it on the way to get there. Okay? So now we have the ability to reveal a detailed description of what's happening to get these static nodes fired up. And that's what you're seeing and hearing now. Okay? Additionally, and this is something that everybody's just going to have to step back and decide what you want out of XtraBYtes. Okay? There's people out there who are waiting to get paid by the static nodes, and we understand that. We got to be patient with this, though. The main income from the static nodes is from services, not transaction fees. That's going to be part of it, but that's not where the big money is going to come from. Okay? The real earnings are coming from the services, and the first thing we need before we get to the services is a stable static network, and that's why it's so important to do this right. And that's coming now. There's many services planned for the future. Storage is one of these, but it's only one. And okay, the name XtraBYtes was the perfect name, but it's not strictly storage related either. Okay, that's very important. And oh, by the way, on that note, we're not changing the name. Come on, guys. This is XtraBYtes. The story behind this is going to be legendary, how this whole thing started. Okay? Legendary. It's laughable. People want to change the name from XtraBYtes, the way this whole thing started. Let me tell you the story on this, okay, while we're here. Back in February, when Borzalem and I first started working together, we had the name bitmox, and I'm the marketing guy. And I'm saying to him, okay, can we change the name? And he's like, well, I don't know, I think so. I'm like, okay, well, that's good, because I'm going to have a lot of trouble building a marketing program or a marketing strategy and all this stuff behind the name bitmox. What is bitmox? And then I said, well, what about XBY? Can we change XBY? Because that's pretty tough to bring anything out of as well. And he says, well, no, we can't change XBY, because if we change XBY, guess what? We lose all our investments. So that was absolutely not going to happen. So we had to build around the letters XBY. And that's where the story starts, everybody. Okay? I came up with a few names. I threw them out there onto the forum, and a few people responded, and one of our people, Errol, he came back with a few names, and Extra, spelled like that, was one of them. And I think Bytes was in there somewhere as well with some of the words that I put. And there it was, XtraBYtes. It was perfect. Okay? So we're not changing the name. So there's no point in even talking about it. That's a special name. This is a special story. XBY is a special coin. The technology behind it is special, and this entire community is special. Even though we might get a little bit argumentative sometimes, you know what? That's all good. That's people. This is a community coin. Okay? XBY, we're going to build some marketing campaigns around that. The big X, the big B, and the big Y. It's going to stay like that. Okay? So let's embrace it. So, you know what? This is the last thing. We got to remember that this is a long-term project. And everybody who understands that is going to be patient, and they're going to enjoy the long-term benefits. And others who are the quick pump and dump guys who are all basically looking for the money right now, you know what, you're probably going to fall by the wayside, and we understand that. We're going to be sorry if you go, but we can't help that. We can't snap our fingers and flip the switch to make this work the way everybody thinks it's going to work. It's not that easy. Okay, and this is technology, and it's new technology. It's being created right now. We're not talking about years, but we're not talking about days either. Okay, so just keep in mind that we're also building a corporation here. There's a big long-term vision with this program. It's not fast money. This is not pump and dump. And once the services start coming online, that's when the statics are going to start to earn the real profits. Okay? So life is about choices. It's one of my favorite sayings. And so you guys have the choice to either stick it out and hold on to your statics, or build up your base of XBY you have right now so you can get a static, okay, at least one, and hang on to it. Because this is going to become something very big. It's going to become something very special. We have an ingenious programmer behind this. We have a solid group of people that are coming into play, that are doing some amazing things. Some of the discussions we've had in the community board so far, there's some really good people involved with this company. Okay? So, stick around. We'll see how quickly this is actually going to come into fruition, but we will be seeing the statics very soon. But it's not flipping the switch. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye for now.